Hello and a very good morning. You're watching WION. I'm Shivangi Shukla, and in the next 30 minutes, we'll take you through all the top stories from across the globe on WION Speed News. The Pakistan Army will hold a high-level meeting today to discuss what it calls the recent misleading media statements about Mumbai terror attack. Move comes after a day after ousted Premier Nawaz Sharif questioned the policy to allow non-state actors to cross the border and kill people in Mumbai. Sharif had, for the first time, publicly acknowledged in an interview that militant organizations are active in Pakistan and questioned the policy to allow the non-state actors to cross the border and kill people in Mumbai. A bridge collapsed in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir left 7 people dead on Sunday. 7 tourists were reportedly swept away and killed, while the injured were flown to the combined military hospital in Muzaffarabad. Rescue workers told media that they had managed to rescue 6 people, while civil and military teams continue to search for survivors. The army said in a statement that a team including helicopters, special service soldiers, doctors and paramedics and divers were at the scene. The incident took place 75 kilometers north of Muzaffarabad in the Neelam Valley, which is a popular tourist destination. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat will leave for Sri Lanka on a 4-day visit, during which he will hold talks with top political and military leadership of the island nation to boost cooperation between the ground forces of the two countries. It will be the first visit of General Rawat as Army Chief to Sri Lanka, where China has been trying to expand its influence. The Army said the aim of the Rawat's visit was to take forward the military-to-military cooperation between the two countries to the next level. The U.S. President's daughter and her husband, Jared Kushner, head delegation of dignitaries from Washington to the U.S. Embassy inauguration ceremony in Jerusalem. Ivanka wrote on Instagram ahead of her visit, "With great joy, I'm returning to Jerusalem." The United States opens its new embassy in Jerusalem on Monday, a move that has delighted Israel and infuriated Palestinians. The opening ceremony is at an existing U.S. consular building in the mostly Jewish Arnona neighborhood of the city. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed the move, but it upset the Arab world and Western allies. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas called it a slap in the face and said the U.S. can no longer be regarded as an honest broker in any peace talks with Israel. U.S. President Donald Trump tweeted that he has asked the Commerce Department to help Chinese technology company ZTE Corporation resume its business fast, a concession to Beijing ahead of high-stakes trade talks that will take place this week. Now, ZTE, one of the world's largest telecom equipment makers, suspended its main operations after the U.S. Commerce Department banned American supplies to its business for 7 years. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that if North Korea agrees to fully dismantle its nuclear weapons program, then the United States will allow the American private sector to invest in the country. He added that Americans will also help invest in North Korean infrastructure and agriculture to help feed its people if the country meets U.S. demands. Iran's foreign minister arrived in Beijing on the first leg of a whirlwind diplomatic tour designed to try and rescue the nuclear deal left on the brink of collapse after the U.S. pulled out. Mohammad Javad Zarif will later fly to Moscow and Brussels to consult with the remaining signatories to the 2015 agreement denounced by President Donald Trump. Washington's decision to withdraw from the agreement and reimpose sanctions infuriated its allies in Europe as well as China and Russia. Supporters of the Shiite cleric Muqtada al-Sadr celebrated its Baghdad in the early hours of Monday following the announcement of a partial count of results by the electoral body, which showed the list backed by Sadr leading in Iraq's parliamentary elections. Electoral Commission said Sadr was leading with over half of the votes counted, pointing to a surprise comeback for the powerful Shiite cleric who had been sidelined by Iran-backed rivals. Malaysia's new Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad said on Sunday that an anti-fake news laws brought by the previous administration will be given proper definition, making it clear to the media and the public that what is fake. Now, abolishing the anti-fake news law was one of the Mahathir's campaign promises, but his latest comments point to a redefining of the controversial law rather than removing it altogether. A gun battle raged between the Afghan security forces and a handful of militants following a series of explosions in the eastern city of Jalalabad on Sunday that killed at least 9 people and wounded at least 30. At least 3 explosions were heard at the start of what appeared to be a coordinated attack. A spokesman for the Nangarhar provincial governor said the firefight was taking place in a building housing the state accounts office. Pope Francis on Sunday prayed for the Indonesian people after suicide bomb attacks on 3 churches in the city of Surabaya killed at least 13 people. The pontiff, after his weekly address to the faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square, said that he is close to the Christian communities of Indonesia's second largest city, where a family of 6 launched suicide attacks on Christians attending Sunday services at 3 churches. Judicial sources informed an attacker who stabbed and killed a 29-year-old in central Paris on Saturday was a French man born in Russia's Chechnya region in 1997. The assailant killed a passerby and wounded 4 others before being shot dead by the police. Meanwhile, sources have informed that attacker's friend has been arrested in Strasbourg. The attack was one of a succession in France in which more than 240 people have died since January 2015, keeping the country on high alert. The knife man who killed 1 man and wounded 4 other people on Saturday night in Paris had been on an anti-terror watch list of suspected extremists, sources close to the inquiry have informed. The Frenchman, born in 1997 in the Russian Republic of Chechnya, was on the so-called file of people suspected of radicalized views who could pose security risks, though he did not have a criminal record. The Site Intelligence Monitoring Group released a video on Sunday showing the alleged Paris knife attackers pledging his allegiance to Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. The group states that it had been posted by Islamic State affiliated Amaq news agency. Speaking in French, a young man, his face largely obscured by a black hood and scarf, said infidels fighting Islamic State were to blame for the attack. It was not immediately possible to confirm the identity of the man in the video. Indian Oil Minister Dharmendra Pradhan is on a 3-day visit to the UAE to follow up on the February 2018 UAE visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Speaking on the sidelines of an industry event, Downstream Investment Forum, focusing on new trade flows, new market opportunities in Abu Dhabi, Pradhan asked oil producers that since India are a new market and it has the biggest appetite to grow, so the producers should provide enough supply of oil at reasonable price. The Energy Minister of the United Arab Emirates, however, said that no one can assure the stability of oil prices. British Prime Minister Theresa May said she could be trusted to deliver Brexit, but that it could not be done without compromises on all sides. a possible warning to cabinet ministers who are deeply split over future customs arrangements. The divisions inside her government over the customs issue were laid bare on Tuesday when Foreign Minister Boris Johnson called proposals for a customs partnership with the European Union after Britain leaves the bloc crazy. Tourists in Macau were surprised to see what appeared to be North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and US President Donald Trump holding hands and walking together on Sunday. But it turned out to be their impersonators taking the opportunity to cause a sensation ahead of the much-anticipated Trump-Kim Singapore summit on June 12th. The lookalikes said the upcoming meeting was inspired by their act in South Korea in February at the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. A police officer punched a black teen in the face while attempting to arrest him on Friday outside a mall in Wisconsin. The video uploaded to social media showed the policeman at the Mayfair Mall parking lot hitting a 17-year-old in the face before the teen fell to the ground, where he punched him again. Local media reported the officers were called Friday afternoon by mall security for disorderly subjects who refused to leave. Hundreds of people rallied in Moscow on Sunday to demand unblocking of the Telegram app, the second protest in the Russian capital since the authorities blocked the popular messaging service last month. Demonstrators chanted anti-government slogans and brandished signs carrying messages against internet censorship. Some tossed paper planes in the air, symbolizing Telegram's logo. After the first two batches of evacuation of more than 6,000 rebels and their families were halted in the countryside of Homs and Hama in central Syria, the evacuation process resumed on Friday. Several towns, including Idlib and Kontrat, have recently joined the evacuation agreement, with the total number of people who have been registered to leave now being 30,000. The militants were thoroughly scrutinized and their name list was double-checked ahead of their departure, said Sana, adding that the evacuees have handed over their weapons. A vehicle bomb exploded in the center of Idlib on Saturday, killing at least 9 people, according to a war monitor. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said the attack targeted the city's courthouse and a hospital. The observatory said its sources suggested the vehicle was an used ambulance. Video uploaded to social media showed what was said to be a rescue workers from Syrian Civil Defense Force searching through the rubble of damaged buildings. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday expressed joy over Israel's win in the Eurovision Song Contest when he gestured a chicken dance in tribute to singer Netta Barzilia's winning song Toy. Thousands of Israelis took to the streets of Tel Aviv after Barzilia was announced winner of the Eurovision contest. Her win in Lisbon was Israel's fourth in the glitzy pageant, watched by over 200 million people around the world. It was also guarantees their right to host the event next year, which will be Israel's first since 1998. The historically important Farnese Blue Diamond, which was passed down through European royal families for some 300 years, is going on sale for the first time next month. Expected to fetch between $3.7 and $5.3 million, the 6.16-carat dark grey blue stone from the Golconda diamond mines of India was first given to the Elizabeth Farnese, daughter of the Duke of Parma, in 1715, when she married Philip V of Spain. A new fissure spewing magma has opened on Hawaii's Kilauea volcano on Saturday, about a mile east of the existing vent, system that has caused tremendous devastation. US Geological Survey uploaded a video showing lava coming out of a fissure 16 on Leilani estates, warning that more outbreaks were likely. Thousands of people have fled their homes on Big Island and thousands of homes have been destroyed since the Kilauea, one of the world's most active volcanoes, erupted 8 days ago. Women in Riyadh tried their hand behind the wheel at a new female-targeted car exhibition on Sunday, a month ahead of their legal permission to hit the roads of Saudi Arabia. The exhibition, titled Pinkish, said it aimed to educate women on automobile options they will have in the kingdom starting June. In a decree issued in September, King Salman ordered an end to the ban on women drivers by June, a conservative traditional that has limited women's mobility and has seen by rights activists as an emblem of their suppression. As the World Cup draws near, Russians adapt new ways to have fun on the pitch, such as playing soccer on bumper balls. The idea of this pastime is simple and fun, playing the favorite game of many, wearing soft plastic inflated spheres around a player's body. The game is thought to have originated in Norway, although it is not an easy task to hit the goal in such attire, but players have a lot of fun simply bumping against each other and falling to the ground without getting hurt. Thousands of Israeli Jewish youths marched on Sunday to Jerusalem Old City in the annual flag dance parade to the Western Wall, celebrating the occupation of East Jerusalem by Israel in 1967 Six-Day War. Israeli police deployed 3,000 security personnel across the city ahead of the event, which in the past has drawn anger from Palestinian residents of East Jerusalem. Israel seized East Jerusalem and the West Bank from Jordan in 1967's Middle East War. It then annexed East Jerusalem and declared it the undivided capital of the whole of Jerusalem. Massive thunderstorms accompanied with rain hit northeast and south India, led to over 40 deaths across the country. The violent storm wreaked havoc, uprooting trees and toppling walls. Uttar Pradesh seems to be the worst hit state, with at least 18 deaths reported in the state. 8 died in Andhra Pradesh, 3 in Telangana, while West Bengal and Delhi reported 9 and 5 deaths respectively. The Weather Office has warned that thunderstorms are expected over the next 2 to 3 days owing to mainly western disturbances. In two different forms of incarnations of celebrating the mother-children bond, youngsters celebrated the International Mother's Day with stranded elderly women in old age homes, while caretaker of an orphanage took the children to parks on Sunday and rejoiced the unconditional love of a mother. Women and other elderly living in an old age home in Ahmedabad city received a surprise visit from the youngsters of the society. The youngsters cut a cake and also distributed sweets after taking their blessings by touching their feet. Shifting focus to sports now. Arsenal gave departing manager Arsene Wenger the perfect standoff with a 1-0 win over the Huddersfield. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored the only goal of the match. It was Wenger's final match as manager of Arsenal after 22 years and 1,235 games in charge of the London Giants. Tottenham Hotspur finished third in the Premier League after edging a 9-goal thriller at Wembley in London. Tottenham overcame a 1-3 deficit at the hands of former champions Leicester City to win 5-4 with Harry Kane scoring twice. Liverpool's task was made much more easier after Newcastle United thrashed the dethroned champions Chelsea 3-0. Chelsea had to win against former manager Rafa Bennett's Newcastle, but did not turn up as goals from Dwight Gale and a brace from Ayos Perez saw Chelsea finish 5th in the league. Liverpool have sealed a Champions League berth for the next season after dominating 4-0 win over Brighton. Mohamed Salah scored a record-breaking 32nd goal of the campaign to win the league's Golden Boot. Dejan Lovren, Dominic Solanke and Andrew Robertson also scored for the Champions League finalists. Manchester City have become the first team to touch the 100-point mark in the Premier League after the champions beat Southampton 1-0 in the final match of the season. Gabriel Jesus scored the winner with the final kick of the match to take City to a record-breaking 32nd win of the 38-match campaign.